Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, Madara28, back again once again with a review for One Piece chapter 1054. This chapter is entitled Flame Emperor. In the Japanese, it would be called Entei, because that's what that translates to. Excuse the squeaky chair. This has been the first upload in a while because I've been trying to get my streaming set up ready to go. This has been the first time I've actually been able to do it. So thank y'all, all two of y'all right now, for your patience as I get this ready to go and as we discuss this chapter. This chapter was pretty good. It was surprising in a lot of ways as well. Yeah, the chapter had a lot of action, had a lot of story. We're finally getting some outside news. We learned about Sabo, about King Cobra. We learned about a lot of characters that we thought we were going to get characterization for. We did. So that was all great. So obviously looking at the chapter, the beginning of it is that we get a shot of them celebrating in the flower capital. Everyone is still partying and celebrating. Now there's a big difference between the Japanese translation of this. I mean, not the Japanese, but the scanlation translation and the Viz, because in the scanlation, Greenbull says the power to influence people. He was like, it's really dangerous, kind of echoing what Mihawk said during Marineford when he saw Luffy running around the battlefield, because he saw how many people Luffy brought to his side from Impel Down to try and get out Ace. But Greenbull here in the Viz translation, he says the thing about influence is when you really want it, it can be hard to gain. So that's completely different from what the scanlation says. I need to actually find the raws and see if I can get them translated that way. But obviously he sees all of the I want to say alive members of the Nine Scabbards come in to fight him. One thing about Greenbull I would say is that he seems to be about prejudice, justice, because he talks about how like Wano isn't affiliated with the world the world's government, and so they don't have any rights, they don't have any laws. He can literally do whatever he wants to them whenever it comes down to it. And so again, I don't know if you would call it prejudice justice or if you would just call it his own unique style of justice, or however he was brought up, because we know each character has a different upbringing in One Piece. So he must have seen something too. He must have gone through something to feel this way, because Isho blinded himself. Isho is Fujitora. He blinded himself. Akainu is about absolute or thorough justice, and then you have Kuzan, aka Aokiji, who's just kind of laid back, lazy justice, and then you have Kizaru, or aka Borsalino, who's unclear justice. But he's going in on them. Someone, so some people have called him Green Coon or Coon Bull, things of that nature, because he does come off as a racist. Not necessarily a racist, but because he believes so much in the Celestial Dragons treat anyone who's lesser as just basic human garbage. So he's basically treating them like that because they're not allied with the world government. And so he comes in here, he flexes his devil fruit. He says he's a pure Logia. He is nature itself. So he says it's the woods fruit. The scanlation said the forest fruit. So we see him literally sprout a forest, and so I guess that's why the scanlation said it's a forest fruit, but he says, and here in the Viz, he's a woods fruit. But it's a Logia, which is cool, because a lot of people thought, I myself thought it was going to be a mythical Zoan. I thought it was going to be either the Garden of Eden or Gaia, which Gaia I think is from the Greek mythology, and the Garden of Eden is obviously from the Bible. Oda pulls a lot of inspirations from both mythoses, and so we get to see the Scabbards go against Greenbull, and then Yamato comes in, and she hits him with Conqueror's Haki. He says it hurts, but there's no blood, so clearly it was a little shallow. Which obviously Oda is going to give Greenbull a lot of clout here, because he is the first admiral who we've seen people fight since Marineford. We have not seen an admiral fight in a very long time, so obviously, even though she was going toe-to-toe against her father, we know Greenbull is going to get that clout, because again, he's the first admiral who we've seen in a long time, so it doesn't draw any blood, but he does say that it hurts a lot. And then she talks about how, like, Wano just got over 20 years of being in prison, and they're not about to go through it again. And that's when Momonosuke shows up in this dragon form. He tries to use a Boro breath, but he can't because he hasn't mastered his fruit yet. And Greenbull immediately ties him up and basically tells them that unless they bring Luffy here, he's gonna kill however many he has to until they bring Luffy out. And so then from that we get a scene change. We get to see the Red Forest, which is Shank's ship, and then we get to see all of the pirates on his ship, all of the top brass from Lucky Roo, Yasop, Ben Beckman, Lemon. I don't know. Some of the characters in here have like weird names. But yeah, we also get the flashback of when they got the Gum Fruit, aka the Nika no Mi. And we're seeing the Lord of the Coast. We get that flashback when he bites off Shank's arm. Oda shows us a different panel because Shanks kind of smiles when the Lord of the Coast bites his arm off. And so we do know that he told Rayleigh that he betted on the future. And so aka he betted on Luffy because he gave Luffy the straw hat. And so that right there is pretty cool in and of itself. But what's weird is that he says, let's go and claim it. We're going to go after the One Piece. This is the first time in the series Shanks has shown interest in the One Piece. So that right there is pretty cool. The rest of the chapter deals with Akainu, Tensei, and Kizaru talking about world events. Yeah, and so when them talking about these, the world events, they're talking about, Tensei talks about how, they can't keep on letting the revolutionaries go around unchecked. And Akainu was like, yeah, I know, but we don't have any Marines to spare. So that right there tells me that they still haven't caught any of the Shishibukai. They haven't caught Boa. More than definitely haven't caught Mihawk or Weevil at this point, even with SSG. So SSG was not as big as a boon as Isho thought it would be, because they're still spread too thin. That's why only Greenbull went to Wano, because they don't have the manpower to even do anything really at this point. And so he's like, we need to stop him. He brings up the fact that one of the original kingdoms, one of the kings were killed. Talks about how Sabo killed King Cobra, and that's why a lot of the people are celebrating. You have 8 countries that have broken rank with the world government and are now rebel countries. Even before their kings came back, those countries revolted. Obviously, I don't believe Sabo killed King Cobra. I think it's Cap. But it is cool that that's what's happening in the world right now. Which is why Greenbull talked about the world is in a mess at the end of chapter 1053. And so he's like, Sabo is being called the Flame Emperor, and that he's even, his clout might have even surpassed Dragon's clout right now, because that's how much of a threat they're claiming he is. And I know a lot of people are memeing right now because Sabo and a few good men, as King of Lightning says, were able to get out Kuma, surpass Greenbull and Isho, aka Fujitora, who was in bandages last time we saw him after what happened in the Reverie. So this shows that maybe the admirals aren't all that they're cracked up to be. Maybe there was another force up there too, besides Sabo and them. But the admirals don't look good because it wasn't just the admirals. It was CP0 was up there. The Knights Guard, as we heard in this chapter from Akainu, were also there. So it just looks bad all around. Even something, because even the difference in translation was that Mjolnir is being looked at suspiciously because apparently he helped the criminals get away. But in the other translation, it said that he was trying to capture them. So it's just different translations all around. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of it. Pretty much, we know that Vivi disappeared. Maybe she got slapped by Kuma and got teleported away somewhere else. But it was a pretty great chapter all around. For a comeback chapter, for the hype, a 10 out of 10, but probably more like an 8 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 for a standard One Piece chapter. That'll do it for this review. We'll be back in front of you soon. Later.